Right, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. This is part 19. Yeah, 19. I'm trying to think now. Part 19 of Project Bandit. And today is going to be the Velocette backlight. Now I want to just stress, I've had a little think about this and I do think this is the right light to use. The story I told you in the last video about my friend Darren that we lost in 2008. This is the light that he chose for his bike before I bought it. And I kept it on the bike until I upgraded and moved something else, and I've always kept it almost as a keepsake. So I think it's right and proper that this should go on the rack, because rat bikes, often a lot of stuff you see on rat bikes have a little story. They have a meaning. There's something that somebody gave to you. On the rat at the moment, welded to the engine cage, I have a bolt that my good friend Jeff managed to break while bolting his cylinder head down, which was rather clever. And he sent it to me because I took the piss mercilessly, as you do. He decided to send it to me and say you can shove it. So there we are, I welded it to the frame. Thank you for that, Jeff. And that's the same thing. When the rat bike's done, it's going to have these little keepsakes. And I kind of like that too. They look brilliant when and they're really bright. They use a pair of 21s, not a 5 and a 21. Now, there's no legal or illegality of that because the brightness of a light, as long as it's not outshadowing the other one. So you get a little 20 in the bottom or a 21 in the bottom, which glows really well, but it's only small. But then when you hit the top one, the brake light, you get 42 watts of light, which is more than you normally get out of a brake light because you only get 21. So boom, it's quite a nice light, and it has a number plate light underneath for when I put it on the back. It's going to show and illuminate the liquid number plate. That another very good friend of mine is going to do for me when I'm ready, I hope. So there we go. Right, stick around, stay tuned. Let's see what we can do with this. Right, the first thing it's got is heat shrink over all this original wiring. So first, let's remove that junction arrow. Time to scare you again with the Stanley knife. Unfortunately, the previous owner, or the previous person, because it wasn't Darren who wired this light, and he had it done by a chap called Pete, who used to run a rather cool chopper shop called G's Louise in Bournemouth before he went off to America and became important. And that is just full of crud in there. That's cool. Even if I just end up re-soldering these and then reheat shrinking them, I don't know, but I wanted to put side terminals on, which would be a better fitting for the job. Right, these ends, I thought I could with these ends I could just put a sideways connector on, like a spade terminal, like that, but I can't. They are actually soldered in. Right, and that's about as ugly as it can be, but they are soldered very strong. Put loads of solder down inside the joint, and there's a little, you can see it, there's a little solder hole as well, which you kind of fill up. Just allows you to properly penetrate right down and all around the cable. A good joint. There's one thing heat shrink does. It makes a good job of anything you've done, no matter how untidy it is. There we are. Shrunken und totally sealed. Right, and it's going to go right in the middle, absolutely bang in the middle, and then the number plate will bolt to this piece of steel just with a couple of self tappers. Will go through and hold the number plate on, which will just be a little short wide one. Indicators on there, right. I'm going to drill. What I like about this little light is it's all steel. Everything's steel. No plastic in it, but this little bit of film in the bottom that diffuses for the number plate. But apart from that, it's a proper little tin backlight. What a rare thing now. Right, try again. A washer. Now it's quite important that these two connectors don't touch this edge, because obviously they're both live, and if they touch this case then we will have arc and no light. So just a little bit of filing on that. Right, a little test bit. Like doing anything like this, I love it. Right, now my little trick. In a tube. Right, final little thing, as that's going to go through a hole that I've cut, these edges here are the live bits, and that's, although I've cut that hole so it's about 5mm all the way around. Got another little trick, piece of inner tube, you know, bicycle mountain bike inner tube ting, and with something pointed, just press a hole in it. And the idea is you make like a little insulating boot. Obviously it's got to be just so it sits around these terminals and absolutely insulates them against any arc or live. I'm just going to put that across there. Oh, by the way, Penny's back.
I was going to say, it looks like the fairy's turned up. It's me.
Oh, you're my special fairy. Right.
Finished a long day.
There we are. Back down over there. And that finally insulates those completely against anything, any earth or premature earthing from the whatever it is that you're bolting it to. So that will just give that a final insulation when it bolts through. Good bit of rubber sheet. Can't beat a rubber sheet. Right inside there. See that?
Mm.
And now look. That insulation there, those two live wires come through with a little, like a little sock on them. Alright, little spring washer, little 2BA nut, and what I'll do before I start using the bike, I shall just Loctite those once it's in. But everything on the initial assembly at this point just gets done up finger tight. Okay, so take it off again. Oh. Now, just checked already, just for anybody asks, is there room for the battery now? There is, because I checked. Right, rock solid, little steel backlight, done. All I've got to do, and the good thing is you can screw that in as tight as you like, because the unlike plastic lights, you're not going to break anything. Right, how we do? Lens on. Over the top, and a little jumbo circlip. That's it. One backlight, done. Now obviously inside, I've got to just move those to one side. Just want to show that to myself the battery fits in. So what we'll do, they'll get two little terminals put on there. And there is an earth strap which goes on the body, so it'll just be a case of earthing that off there which will connect, where are we, to that one, which will be the earth obviously because it's on the side. And then these two lives, I'll just come back down, find them here somewhere, and then I'll do another hole in the side with the grommet, run that in through the side, and that will just get connected to there so the backlight works. That is that. Right, there we are, one backlight. Now, so there we are. Not a massive amount of progress. The point of this is really just that I've chosen that as my backlight choice. I know already at this point there are going to be people hitting dislike, probably because they dislike that, but I really don't care, because as I said in yesterday's video and at the beginning of this backlight was on the back of a bike that was featured in 100% Bike Op on the cover and the centre spread, and it belonged to a friend of ours, Darren Molina, who was killed. That was the backlight that he chose for the project, and I want to use it on the wrap for that reason among others. And it's cool. I think when the calf racer tail hump comes round, I've got this mad idea of bringing the tail hump round further and then Frenching it. And if you don't know what Frenching is, you can look it up, and be careful what you look up, because when you look up French or Frenching, you get all kinds of answers. But it means sinking it down a hole, so it will sit down a recess rather than being on flush. But I want the back end as short as possible. That's the only short option. Anything else is going to be way long, and that's ideal. So I'll take the battery back out because it doesn't need to be there yet. I've got to pad this out with foam so it doesn't move about, and I've got to make a strap that holds it in, which I'll deal with as well. So there we are. That's another little bit of progress, a little bit of forward movement. Every little bit gets us closer to doing the most interesting part, which is fabricating the tail panel to go over it all. So little by little we're getting there. Okay, thanks very much for tuning in and watching the Delboy's Garage. Always appreciate all your comments and all the kind things you say and the suggestions. Everything is taken in good nature. Whatever you think that you might have done different, share it, because many minds share information and you get a better result with the new project. I've taken on a few things that people have said already and it does work. So there we go, take it to your ride safe. See you for the next one. This has been 19.